Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Pick a Card. And I am excited about today because we're doing fairy readings. I love the fairies, I love the fairy kingdom. I spend a lot of time in nature, and today's special award goes to Ruth. Ruth sent me an email that told me how much she enjoyed the little tour of my fairy garden. I have the great good fortune to live in a place where there's a wooded area that I can visit whenever I want. And I have created a trail and a fairy garden within the woods. I have always been blessed by nature wherever I go. And I come to learn just by reading and watching YouTube videos about the fairies. And the fairies are called elementals, and they do love nature. And so whenever you're walking by a piece of litter or something that's on the ground and you pick it up, you're blessing the earth and you're blessing the fairy kingdom. Now, I am 71 years old, a little old to be believing in fairy tales. Don't you believe it? Because there is something to be said about that second childhood that you get if you learn to appreciate life rather than become embittered by it. Can I hear an amen from the choir? So, Ruth, thank you so much. Ruth did not even ask for a reading. She was just wanting to join me in my love of the fairy kingdom. And so I'm so delighted, Ruth, to do this lighthearted reading today from the fairies on your behalf, and I will draw cards for you personally to see what the fairies have to say to you. I'm just lighting up my Palo Santo for, I guess, you know what, within the next 24 to 48 hours, if we say, what is it that is coming ahead for my friends in the next 24 to 48 hours from the angle of the fairies, what would you have them know? And then Ruth, when we're all finished, I will draw cards for you at the end. Now, don't y'all go running off getting all jealous. I'll tell you that Ruth got this reading because she sent me an email to ask me a question. I love when you guys are doing that because it helps me pick readings that you really want. Not everybody likes to have personal readings. They prefer the readings for the collective because it is kind of fun, isn't it? When you accidentally find a reading and it ends up answering your question. That's what happened to me back in 2020 when I started watching readings. And it became apparent that if people could do it and have fun with it, so could I. And indeed, that's what's happening. So I'm about to draw cards here. So hold in your mind what it is that you want to hear about in this next 24 to 48 hours. What's going on in your life where you could use a little bit of wisdom? And we will ask the fairies. All right, let me move the decks out of the way. And here I have this beautiful deck. This deck is not in print anymore, this Fairy Oracle by Doreen Virtue. And I really love when the detailers take the time to make the edges so beautiful for us, just pointing that out. All right, what are going to be our piles? Thank you so much for joining me today with the fairies. What is it? What is it the fairies would like for you to know in the next 24 to 48 hours? There's pile 1, pile 2, and I'm going to reach for this one for pile 3. Okay. Okie dokie. Pile 1, we have birthday. A significant birthday holds the answer to your question. It seems like you may be being called to do some recollecting, some reverie, thinking about your childhood, maybe. Maybe there's a special child in your life whose birthday is happening this week. Okay, pile number 2, we have spiritual teacher. Your life purpose involves teaching others about healing and spirituality. Pile 2, perhaps you've been procrastinating a bit. Perhaps you know that there's work for you to do on the planet and you're a little shy about it. We'll see. And pile 3, we have holiday. The answer you're looking for can be found during a vacation, retreat, or holiday getaway. All right, so there we have our 3 cards, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. I'm going to draw cards from my teddy bear deck today because I want to keep this playful and lighthearted, and even the teaching cards of this deck are fun. And then I'll be finishing. Each card will also receive one of the Avalon Magic blessings. Oh, and I almost forgot. Ruth, I did not forget you. Ruth is getting a free reading today because she's the one that suggested the theme for today's readings. I'm going to draw her personal reading after I'm finished with the others. Okay, Ruth, got you covered. Let's clean up my table and let's go to work. Let's see what the cards have for us today. Thanking the fairies for being here with us, giving us a playful, helpful message. All right, so pile number 1, welcome. Is it your birthday today? Wouldn't that be something? Go ahead. If it's your birthday today, be sure to tell me in the comments below, okay? If you're just joining for the first time and you're not used to a collective reading, each card that you see, you pull it into your own life. What's going on for you right now when it comes to a birthday? This will give you a chance to absorb this collective reading. If you have a question that you prefer that you get answered personally, you simply send it to me in the email. Okay, so let's take a peek here. I'm not going to try to tell the story until I draw the tarot because this could have some double meanings. The first thing that I'm aware of here is this flower. This is called the lily of the valley. It might be helpful for you to go ahead and Google, not right now, wait please till after the reading, but search for the spiritual meaning of lily of the valley. I believe that there's someone listening to this right now that when you read what that is, it's going to bring you a special message. For me personally, Lily of the Valley was near my home where I grew up in Indiana. So I can smell the aroma of that Lily of the Valley right now. I love it. I need to plant some here, I think. At any rate, that's what's drawing me as a reader into this as your childhood, that there's something the fairies need for you to know that in your childhood may be causing you some challenges. Why do I say that? Look at these balloons. We have green light, red light, yellow light, represented by the color of the balloons. So I feel like you may be saying no to yourself about something that doesn't make sense as an adult, but when you were a child, there was a certain rigidity, a certain following the rules that you didn't dare step across. And now as an adult, it's like you're being called to look both ways. I mean, don't run out in traffic for Pete's sake, but allow yourself a bit of risk. Pile 1, does that resonate? Go ahead and hit the thumbs up, please. Show our friends out here on YouTube that you're getting a message. All right, let's go on and see what we have. Very interesting Lover's card. Yeah, let's pull the rest before I read this story here. Don't you love my teddy bears, you guys? I love this Lover's card. Okay, sometimes the Lover's card can come across as a sexual image, where there's very beautifully dressed figures that are in intimate embrace, okay? But many times what you're needing when it comes to connection is way more companionship, way more having somebody right there who just wants to hear about your day, who just wants loves to spend time with you. Okay, so because of that, I think that you do have a little bit of a guard set up on your heart, pile 1, where there's a gift being presented to you. There's an opportunity to fall in love again. There's an opportunity to learn what the lessons of the past. This is a fresh start card. And your heart is this end of the day, watching the sunset together, where you both are fulfilled in your own life and you're both able to hold your own in your life. But when you come together, there's this great, deep companionship. I immediately think of Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Goldie Hawn is being interviewed in some podcasts right now, and she's just brilliant because she's lived decades with somebody who does not agree with her about politics, doesn't agree with her about some things, but their adult children still like them and come over to their house. And there's a lot of people who can't say that. And so if you're looking for this kind of companionship, pile one, you need to find where you're saying no and what you're afraid of. Sometimes if one of those balloons would pop, it would scare everything, right? But you have learned the lessons. Now at this age, you know that breakups are not fatal. In fact, breakups are a blessing. When you step away from someone that's not a good fit, it's such a fresh start. These are huge fresh start cards that cut off the past and move forward. Now, in the comments below, I'm going to add some tools, and there's a tool called the Soulmate Generator. And I'm going to add it to the comments. Use it. It will help you release the pressure that you're feeling about disappointments from the past. This is a very exciting card for you, pile one. It means that if you can release yourself once and for all from all the whining and complaining, no offense, but come on, you have to give up that old story at some point. It's not fair to carry it forward. You could miss the opportunity of a lifetime, and you don't want to do that. All right. Oops, oh my, that one just flipped out of the deck. I always love when that happens. Let me explain my token here, my totem. All the readings that I'm doing from now on are including this because this is what I believe. I believe that you have a personality that is enviable. You sparkle, you're fun, and you have great potential. However, you don't know how to bring it out of yourself. You have a higher self, your inner being, as Abraham Hicks talks about it. Your inner being loves you more than I can describe. Your inner being wants for you to have the connection you're looking for. Our only answer is to find out what is missing inside so that you can take care of some of the doubts and fears and truly bring in a loving connection. So this is the card that tossed itself out of the deck. And so this is your blessing, pile number one. Have faith in yourself and in higher powers. They lead you in dark times, even when you feel you've lost guidance. You're way, way too young to be saying, I'm never falling in love again. And I believe with all my heart that you have made that promise because of hurt. And I'm being bold with you, pile one, because your friends don't want to hear how lonely you are, and nobody wants to hear your opinion about why things aren't working out. Do the work. Find out what's holding you back and do something about it. There's a tool. It will be in the comments with the timestamps, so there's no more excuses. Okay, have you ever known the fairies to be tough on you? I feel like the fairies called all of us out in that pile one, because I believe we all can release something that's bothering us and not have to carry stuff year and year and year. If you're not familiar with the work of Michael Singer, you want to take a look. Tons of YouTubes. Spiritual teacher, not one better, really. When it comes to letting go from a spiritual aspect, Michael Singer is completely helped me understand my own desire for solitude. It's helped me understand how I feel safest when I'm alone, and also helping me understand how to get out of that. So for sure, Go look up Michael Singer. I'm so busy chit chat, blah, 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 blah. I get so excited about the cards. But thank you. I see you guys making comments and stuff down there. I just can't concentrate on it while I'm doing the readings. But your love means so much to me. Thank you for that. Hit the heart because then I can see that float up and I know y'all are there. But if you would like a personal reading, you want me to draw cards for you, there is no excuse. Here's my email. Write to me. Okay, guys? All of y'all. Menage and Sakshi. Hi, hi, hi. Okay, pile two. Welcome to pile two. This reading from the fairies is covering the next 24 to 48 hours. Right away, it makes me think of my own story and how shy I was about doing readings, you guys. 20 years ago now, probably more, maybe 24 years ago, I started reading cards. And guess what I did? All I did was let the person draw, and then I just read out of the little book that comes with the cards. That's all I did. But it was the ideas that came out while I looked at the card that seemed to help people. And that's led all the way till now. I would have never thought I would have a channel. You know, who would want to watch? Well, turns out you guys. So what we're doing right now is we're addressing someone who's shy about using your spiritual gifts, okay? So right now there's another woman and her name is Jenny. Hi, Jenny. Jenny has already, her reading is upcoming, but I'm going to give her a link for this particular card for her life because it's scary a little bit to step out into work that some people find silly or they don't believe. The fairies are a perfect example. Do any of us really believe in fairies? Or do we just believe that the spiritual energy that floats around us all the time is always creating opportunities for mischief and playfulness and fun? You know, like if you find money outside, if you find like a $10 bill laying on the ground, let's just say, you could just, I mean, that's going to make everybody tickled, right? And so then you pick up the $10 and you have joy in your heart. If you believe in fairies, you might say, I bet the fairies left that for me. And I will tell you that in my fairy garden, which is out in the woods near me, and sometimes I go there and one of the little statues is knocked over or something's changed in the fairy garden. I never know if an animal has done that or if fairies actually came to visit my own fairy garden. But I have found at my age, being that I'm a grandmother now, that I don't mind the playful part of my imagination. In fact, I kind of enjoy it. So is it brave of me to be upfront about it? Absolutely. But I'm also careful because if my own children think it's a little flaky that their mom is on YouTube talking about fairies, I don't need to talk to them about my channel. No, I can talk about them about something that they love, right? So you have to be discreet. But you also have to realize that if you have spiritual gifts, there's people hungry for them, and you owe it to yourself and to them to figure out what that is. So let's draw the rest of the story. So first of all, fairies are saying, don't be afraid of your audience. Don't be afraid to speak to the people who get you. Notice there's no lions here. There's no cows. There's no chickens. They're rabbits. So she is sure of her audience. She's not out there trying to talk to people who don't get her. Got it? So let's draw our cards. Oh, beautiful. Pile two. Ace of Pentacles, which is grounded planting of something new and powerful. Grounded planting of something new and wonderful. Okay, fairies are lovingly reaching out to you to tell you to step up and enjoy your gifts. Let me pick our second card. And it is the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, God love you, pile two. Okay, so you do have a cautious nature, pile two, okay? You have a cautious nature. You don't want to make a mistake. You want to do things right. Do you know the word plodding? Plodding, plodding along, just fast enough, okay? So this energy of yours, you may enjoy being alone. I'm feeling a blockage in my throat right now, right in my upper chest. And that's always my signal that it's hard for you to speak your truth, isn't it, pile 2? Everybody, please reach out your arms around each other energetically. Hit the thumbs up. Let's all take a minute and appreciate that it's scarier than shit to speak up sometimes. Because sometimes your intuition says, stop talking. So if your intuition says, stop talking, well, yeah, then stop. But for the most part, to find an audience where you can speak freely of what you believe in will really help you step forward. There's a part of you that is waiting for something to happen, and there's a part of you that's satisfied going slow. Let's draw our next card here. Oh, yes, okay. All right, pile 2. So here's the dealio. The fairies are asking you to simply acknowledge that your life purpose includes teaching energy or spirituality, whichever you want to say. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. Your fairies are simply saying to you, say it out loud. My life purpose includes teaching others about spirit. Look in the mirror. Thank you, Louise Hay. Look in the mirror and say out loud, I am becoming more comfortable accepting that my life purpose involves spirit. Because a part of you thinks it's hard. A part of you thinks it's scary. But I want to remind you of another tiger in Playful Land. Are you familiar with Winnie the Pooh? Tigger, right? The character of Tigger. The energy can be scary, off-putting. If you have to live with a ADD person, you know that constant activity can make you nervous. So pile 2, you have a gift. You can't hide from it. You know it. If you do this mirror work where you just, I would put my hand right on your heart, right on your chest. I call that the awe position, like your awe, and look in the mirror and say, I'm willing to look at myself as a spiritual teacher. I'm willing to consider my life purpose is about spirit, because the only person that needs convincing is you. All right? It's a very direct piece of advice. If you need more wisdom on that, send me an email. I'm right here for you. But this is the marching orders. You just got marching orders. Very specific reading for pile 2. Thank you. Now let's look at our blessing card. And the blessing is coming from Avalon Magic. Thank you for being here, pile 2. And thank you, Ruth. Ruth is the queen of the day because she asked me to do, well, she didn't ask, she asked me a question about fairies, and I picked that theme for today. So let me just close my eyes. These pictures, I don't want to be drawn by any of them. We'll pick this one. Oh, beautiful. This is your blessing, pile 2. Love yourself for the courage you've shown to arrive at your best version today. Yes. It's not fair to hold back, pile 2. You have so much to give. And somebody here, this just touched your heart, didn't it? I can feel the goosebumps in my shoulders and in my chest. Thank you for being here. Oops. I just love these fairy readings. You guys like them? Should we do them again? I'm thinking yes. Okay, so let's move on to pile 3. And then after pile 3, Ruth will get her cards read. Personally, between me and Ruth, she has graciously volunteered to allow you guys to peek over her shoulder. And so that's what's going to be on the follow-up. It'll be our 4th pick of the day. And as we go to pile 3, first of all, welcome pile 3. Thank you so much for being here today for these readings. So, holiday, the answer you're looking for. So, in case you weren't here early, I'm Catherine, by the way, but we are concerned today is next 24 to 48 hours. What is it you can do, or what's the advice that the fairies might have for you? Okay. So, the answer you're looking for can be found during a vacation, retreat, or holiday getaway. All right. So the very first thing I'm drawn to is the amount of blue that's in this card. Pile two did have some blue in it also. The idea of speaking up, speaking your truth fearlessly. If you were at all drawn to pile two, you might want to take a look at it. But this shows me a couple of interesting ideas. The first is the blue is the color of your throat chakra. So in a reading, there's a little bit of just an education for you so you can really tell if a reading is for you or not. Sometimes during the reading, you may feel pressure in your upper chest. You may feel a tingling in your jaw. You might feel a tightening at the back of your neck. A lot of physical squeezing and cringing can happen in your upper body when you're listening to information that is harmonizing with you. You'll hear people on these on the videos saying it resonates with me because I can actually feel in my body something that somebody on the somebody that's watching, I feel what's going on with you emotionally, and I cannot explain why. It just happens for me. So at this point, right away, I feel this conflict in vacation. That's what I'm aware of, is that vacation is something we go to and we're hoping, oh, this is going to be fabulous. You got the great retreat, or excuse me, you've got the great resort, you've got the flight arrangements are all made, and you've saved your money or maybe gone on credit, but you've decided on doing this fabulous trip to an exotic lake location. You're fulfilling your dream. And unfortunately, when you get there, it's not quite what you looked for. Okay. And you're like, oh no. And this is like your kind of the Disney princess, you know, the always wanting to be positive. And even though, like you'd be like, even though there's a problem with the resort, I'm sure God has a plan. And you just go leaping off and keeping a upbeat, right? No matter what, stay positive. So pile three, I feel like the answer you're looking for is hidden. It's hidden under some sort of disappointment that you had over a holiday. Isn't the universe sneaky, pile three? I think that there's some sort of mistaken message that you got about a vacation, something about the expectations, and the fairies are wanting to put their light on it. Okay, so let's take a peek here and see what is the story that's going to back this up. Okay, Queen of Pentacles. Okay, she's a wonderful storyteller. Let's see. I'm using my teddy bear deck today because, I love how playful the deck is, and even if the cards need to bust us a little bit because something's a little out of place. Oh, okay, this is terrific. All right. Okay, I love this. I love this cards. I love these cards for you so much. Okay, pile three. All right, let me just take a look. Okay. Yes, all right, so what I'm seeing here with this Queen of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles is just a very mature, grounded, sometimes we overuse that word, but mature and capable, has achieved either financially she's feeling very stable, or she's feeling very stable in her relationship. Okay, it can swing either way. I know the cups are the suit of our emotion. I'm not really talking about that right now. I'm talking about the fact that the skill, the maturity, I keep reflecting on the word maturity. I see the fall tree, but I also see flowers. So it's just this sense of being able to look at everything that's happened and be reasonable about expectations. So I feel like in finances or in relationships, this is true of you. Because I know people who are not wealthy. I don't call them poor, I call them unwealthy, because they're just not wealthy, but they have a wealth of joy and connection in their relationship. The amount of intimacy that they've learned how to do, the amount of sacrifice and compassion they have in their relationship so they keep it flowing. Maybe their money is not where they want it to be, but the skill of maturing into a good relationship is the same energy as accumulating wealth, because wealth comes in lots of different categories. If you want to learn more about that, the book Thank and Grow Rich by Pam Grout is a fantastic book that can teach you the secret of gratitude and how to really apply it in your life. Pam Grout. Anything she writes is great. Now, what's going on right now, though, so how does this connect? So there was a holiday that you went on. It could be a retreat or a vacation, family vacation, or even when you went away by yourself and you felt it was the right thing for you to do. Somebody might have given you a vacation, and when you went there, somebody wanted to take you to Italy, let's say, right? This is true of one of my clients. Somebody took her to Italy, and there were some things that happened over there that were uncomfortable, and she was wondering, why did that happen? And so we've talked a lot about that as we go forward, because somebody else provided the trip. She didn't have that maturity to be able to see what she could glean from that learning experience. There's confusion. And this illustrates what I started the reading, where you went on the vacation, it looked great, sounded great, but something didn't work. Something didn't feel great. And here's this little bear going, what the fork? It should have been perfect. Everything I need. I'm gesturing out here where you can't see me. Everything should have been fantastic. So what the heck happened here? What's going on? And you can't figure it out. And that's what's causing a block for you, because you want to go forward in a hurry. You want, at this point, the power of what's possible. You have manifested some amazing things. But there's something hooked into a vacation in the past that is holding you back. And so you have this tug of war. You've got the stability, like I must have stability. I must hold on to make sure that I don't go risking myself for nothing anymore. And yet life is calling you to take a risk. So you're being split right down the middle. So what do the fairies want to do besides forking with you? Because they're really teasing you. I have a sense that something exciting is right around the corner. So here's your homework, my dear pile 3. You want to get out a piece of paper and write down every unfortunate thing that's ever happened to you when you were traveling. All right. So you want to be able to write down, you missed that plane, you got to the hotel and it was construction and they didn't tell you before you went, and your room is next to drilling and hammering all day, right? These are true stories, by the way. You miss a flight and have to pay for another flight to get on the cruise ship that left yesterday because you were supposed to transfer out of Denver and Denver had a snowstorm. Okay? Everybody has travel nightmare. I went to the family vacation and my brother picked on me just like he did when we were 12. I did not want to go to the family reunion, and then a week later I found out that my great-grandma passed away and I missed seeing her. We have countless nightmares when it comes to travel. So 8 of them. Are you ready for it? Can you do it? Oh, I'm sorry, 7. I was never good at math. 7 things, 7 events, 7 disappointments about travel. You got to do it, okay? And then, well, you don't have to, but how badly do you want to manifest what you're wanting? Got it? Fairies don't mess around. She wants to show you the answer. Look at that dark hair flowing out behind her. She's moving forward, okay? This might be a particularly deep message if you have long dark hair. All right, so now you get your 7 things, write them out, and then rank them from scale of 1 to 10 How much disappointment or how mad were you? And use that as an opportunity to put it down. This one, it was so frustrating. It was a 10. You could peel your skin off. And then this one didn't bother me much. I didn't care. I mean, they changed our room and it was a little inconvenient, but I had zero emotion to it. Okay? Now, I'm going to give away one of my favorite techniques that I only share with my private clients because I don't take time to do it here, but this is what I want you to know. There's an app that's called Word Hippo, WORDHIPPO. And all you do is you go there and you write down a word, and it gives you several of the same meaning, only different flavor. So disappointment is a huge problem when we're trying to plan ahead. You can't plan enough ahead to stay in front of the mistakes that will happen at your resort, or the people that'll hurt your feeling at the family reunion. You can't protect yourself enough. Okay, so we need to shake that energy. So when you look up the word disappointment in Word Hippo, it's an app, you'll get probably 20 or 30 different words for disappointment. So you pick 7 words that mean disappointment. Pick them. And then just let yourself, I love the word ponder, where you just think about something. Let yourself think about that thing. For example, they gave our room to someone else and we had to have a double bed. That may have happened. And then you say to yourself, when that happened, I was disappointed, but you need to say it 7 different ways. When you name disappointment 7 different names, I cannot explain the magic, not even going to try, but see all this energy? It's like once you do that, it dissipates and raises, and then you're all systems go. There's nothing more exciting than the Knight of Wands, full of energy to create something, okay? So that's your reading, pile 3. I'm so excited and I want to hear what's going on. I just have the sense that this is resonant with some of you and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't waste a minute. Email me and tell me what's going on. Not only will I love to hear from you, but you may be a winner, just like Ruth is today, because I'm going to draw cards for Ruth personally right after this reading. And the only reason I'm doing that is because she emailed me and we chit-chatted, we picked a theme, and here we are doing a card for you and a card for Ruth. And you are certainly invited to peek over my shoulder while I do Ruth's reading, because there may be something there for you. Okay, I'm going to close my eyes, look out the window, pick this one. Ooh, pretty. This is your blessing, pile 3. I hope you loved your reading. Hit that thumbs up if it resonated with you. Close that energy loop. All right, and we have access your deep feminine intuition and allow new possibilities to flow. Totally supports the Word Hippo idea. If you've just joined me and you don't know what I'm talking about, Word Hippo, you have to watch the whole pile 3. I'll be adding timestamps. But for those of you who heard the advice, that's what happens. Once you label the word disappointment 7 different ways, you are walking in feminine energy. You are walking into your healing. Got it? Very exciting. I always laugh when I think about doing fairy readings because I always think they're kind of gentle, or it's like healing light. You know, like Archangel Michael is the major deal when we're praying a lot, right? But when it comes to the fairies, we're like, oh, they're such cute little beings. But look at the lessons we've learned with these 3 readings today. Holy moly. All right, so now we have Ruth. Ruth wrote to me, and actually with a comment about my fairy garden, because wherever I've lived over the last, I've lived an unusual life and I've lived in some beautiful places. One of which was in a beautiful home in Valley Center, California, where the lady had a veranda that went all the way around her porch, and it overlooked a valley, and it was a big property, and there was a grove of manzanilla trees, and I could create a fairy garden out there, and it was just life changing. I had so much fun. I may have done it as a child, but I was able to just play with my imagination. Now that's many years ago now. But here in Tennessee, there's a woods nearby me, and I've created a path. I want to do fairy readings from the woods. What do you guys think? Would that be fun? I have to put on my mosquito repellent, but I could bring my cards and my table right into the fairy forest. And maybe I'll do that next time, because I love it in there. So I took a video and I posted it, and Ruth sent me an email and just complimented me and connected because she loves fairies also. And so she didn't really have a question. She just wanted to share the joy of fairiness with me. And so, just in gratitude to you, Ruth, for asking me about my fairy garden and allowing me to create this themed reading on your behalf, let's see what your message is, Miss Ruth. Whom do you need to forgive? Wow, let's take a look. As you release old anger or resentment, you will find that your wishes will come true. So, Ruth, I kind of assume you've been listening all the way along because most of my winners do. So, that advice for pile 3 is golden for you, where you can look at something that's been disappointing and you will know just exactly what to do. If you just tuned in, you're just watching right now, and you didn't even expect to be here with me, I will tell you that in pile 3, there is a remedy for getting over disappointment. And so I have a feeling, Ruth, that this might be very applicable to you. And I just want to step up one more step closer, Ruth. And I want to use my symbol here while I shuffle. And I'm using the teddy bear deck. So I just want everybody to know that even though forgiveness is a deep issue and a lot of people cringe because forgiveness is not easy, when we're doing it with the teddy bear deck, it gets real easy. But I want to explain something, Ruth. In my belief system, I believe that I'm what's called a blended being. Abraham Hicks was the first one that said those words, blended being. And I feel that because my personality, my humanness, is this what I call my smaller self. It's part of me that is a little bit uninformed and not very smart about some things. Then I have my inner self, my higher self, my God self, the part of me that's connected to the divine. Some people believe that is the divine. But when these two are in harmony and they really are loving one another, we are safest. We are safest. Now, see the combination here? See how the two figures are just the same. So, Ruth, I believe that the fairies are here to encourage you to forgive yourself, that you couldn't have known. None of us can know enough to keep ourselves from trouble. We can't. We can get like a psychic hit, or like we can have what's called precognition sometimes, where you sense something's going to happen. But our humanness is never supposed to be that. That's not what we're here for. We're here to be sensory beings, to feel and to enjoy life in the human way. And when we're connected to our divine self, we're just going to have an easier time. But we're not going to protect ourselves from someone passing away. We're not going to protect ourselves from life. Life happens. And we have to human ourselves along the way in life, making sense of it all, with the knowledge that our inner being is always available. And I said in pile 3, about how it's my mistake in the past is assuming that fairies are itty bitty teeny weeny little characters, right? Aren't they cute, like Tinkerbell and Peter Pan? And then I think of Archangel Michael, and it's like, whoo, Archangel Michael, there's no messing around with him. He's like the ultimate of strong angels. And so today's readings are blowing me away because the truth is fairies are pretty darn powerful, even though they're tiny. Gigi, my darling, welcome. I'm so glad. I can only see like a tiny row of my comments, and I appreciate that because I'm just a little grandmother from Indiana. That's why I tell people, and I'm not technologically savvy, except my dad was an IBM guy, so I suppose it's in my blood. But I'm just grateful that with my phone, I can create this magic. You can do anything, and you don't have to be fancy. All right, so my dear Ruth, let's take a peek at what my beautiful little teddy bears have for us. I'm grateful for the teddy bear deck. You know, did you know, you guys, if you want a reading, that the deck can be a very important part of it? And probably one of the best deck collections I see online is Green Aventurine Tarot. And why her channel is small, I don't get it, because this woman knows what she's doing, so please follow her. But I believe Gigi would say too that if you see a deck in one of our readings and you would love to use that deck in your private reading, we are open and available to serve you in that way. Because some people are afraid of tarot because they're afraid of bad news, which Gigi and I both will tell you there's no bad news. It's a matter of what can you do to sharpen the relationship between you and your inner being. The sharper you are there, the better your life. And so the gentle cards often hit harder than the harsh cards, in my opinion. So here we have the Six of Cups. This is the exact energy I'm feeling, that when you reminisce a little bit back into some decisions you've made, Ruth, that it's bittersweet, that you feel like there's been some mistakes made. But you have to remember the good is with the bad. The sting of the bee comes with the honey, right? So I will tell you, I don't know if this is part of your story, but I do have a blog that I populate now and then. It's called Breakup Candy. Okay, so you can find it at breakupcandy.com. And what that is, it's the philosophy that in any heartbreak, there has to be a little bit of sweet. Everything that we go through, that life dishes up to us, right? It dishes it up to us. There's something salty, something sweet. But if you don't feel the sweetness of it, you get stuck. So I feel like there is that you're looking back to when you were a kid, and there may be a time when you feel you made a mistake, that you could have acted in a different way. Yes, so beautiful. Your soul, your divine connection, your inner being is so much more capable than you know. Part of having a mistake when you're young, when your intuition is just underdeveloped, and maybe your guidance was telling you don't do this, but you just couldn't hear it at the time. We all have to cut ourselves slack from the perfectionism that we carried, from the expectation that somehow life would be different, that somehow you could have decided a different way and changed your fate. You don't need to carry that anymore. Your inner being knows exactly what to do next. So when you talk about needing to forgive, it's more or less letting go, okay? And being able to let go of the past, no matter what's in it. There's a few experts I can recommend. Michael Singer, beautiful work, talks about letting it go. He makes it so logical. Michael Singer. Another one, Joe Dispenza. Again, lots of YouTubes out there for you. I don't need to teach you how to do it. I will put a tool into the comments that I use. I use one for money and I use one for love. The whole purpose is to detach myself from my mistakes in the past. The resources will be in the first comment, so take a peek at it. But when you keep hurting, like when you keep being disappointed over and over again, it shows that you're holding yourself captive, that you need to forgive your human self because, yes, you made a mistake, but you did the best you could at the time. You are handcuffing, like you're holding your own self back by being hard on yourself. And look at this beautiful card. I mean, you look at this fire and ice. I see this hot, cold here. But the Temperance card is the beautiful card of balance. Okay? This, to me, one foot on the ground, 1 foot in the water. One picture, you're doing things right. This picture, you're doing things wrong. Okay? This is success. This is failure. This is perfection. This is a mistake. Ruth, my dear Ruth, I don't know you. You're a stranger to me. But what I do know is that the blending of your two beings, your inner being and your personality, the blending of those, your acceptance of your errors, will bring you into this beautiful balance where you can now accept the fact that you're going to mess up half the time. Because if you know that, you know you need to rely on the divine. There is only one answer, and that is always turning to spirit. And so people who, okay, hang on. The only people who might struggle with this, Ruth, is someone who, hold on. Oh, yeah. Someone who's maybe lost a little hope. And so it may be hard for you to believe that this could be true, that you might have an inner being that was so deeply spiritual it could soothe you. If that's true, go ahead and email me back, and I would be happy to answer a more specific question on that. Because in my mind, this is one of our divine rights. You know how sometimes in politics and stuff, they can always go talking about this one's rights or human rights or who's doing this or that. But the reality is that you have a divine right to peace of mind. And whatever you need to do to find that peace of mind, you just keep working on that, okay? Because you don't have to live with a doubt that your inner being is right there for you, no matter what. Okay, let's draw our blessing for Ruth. And y'all send Ruth a big hug, would you? Would all of you just take a minute? Ruth, we're sending you love. We're here for you. There's not one of us that doesn't have to let go of somebody that hurt your feelings. Not one of us. Okay, I can't tell. Is this, oops, oh, here. I couldn't tell which side was up. Okay, very interesting. Isn't that beautiful? What I noticed right away are the dragonflies. They're so tiny. So I think that, part of what you're looking for here, I think you will be very surprised, Ruth, by the tiny glimmerings that you're going to start noticing. Things are definitely changing for you. Fill up from the healing waters of Mother Earth's sacred springs and connect to her heartbeat. Become as one energy. Oh, wow. For you, Ruth, after you wrote to me about how much you enjoyed the tour of the fairy garden, it's true that when you're outside, it serves you, doesn't it? It brings you life. So I would say wherever you live, Ruth, find a river, find a pond, find an ocean, but do schedule almost like I would call it a date with yourself, where you take yourself to the nearest water feature, even if it's the fountain in front of the bank. And I'm not kidding. But do, in the next 24 to 48 hours, Ruth, reach out and touch nature in a watery way. All right? Oh, man. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for coming in for these readings. I truly appreciate it. It's helping me in my work to do themed readings because I feel like I can tap into exactly what it is that you're wanting. So as we go forward today, go forth and prosper. Be sure to shoot me an email if you have any questions at all. I would love to connect with you, and I look forward to our reading tomorrow. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll let you know as soon as I do. I love each and every one of you. Spending your time and your energy here with me feels like the biggest hug, and I receive it deeply. Love you all. See you tomorrow.